Well, I want to thank you for the privilege just to speak a little about my latest publication entitled God Has No Grandchildren. This is the fourth book that I have written, and in this, I am literally dealing with my own uh, situation when my daughter walked away from home and turned her back on the Lord and was not living for God at all. In the prime of my ministry, when I was all over the place doing evangelistic work in Dominica, the region, and the othermost parts of the earth, should I say. And this was a time when I had to stop and reflect on what I was doing, my failures, where maybe I had failed as a parent. And right at this moment, I told myself I could not be out there preaching and teaching as I was doing in those days, and that my own daughter was not walking with the Lord. So deep within myself, I decided I was going to give up the ministry. And in the midst of my contemplating on resigning, stopping, giving up the ministry, God sent the prophet Tonell Nelson, who came to me and told him that God sent him to me. And God told him to tell me not to give up the ministry. And the truth is, I had not spoken to anybody or discussed my plans with anyone, not even my wife. And then he went on to share with me what happened to him in the prime of his own ministry. While he was young, his son walked away from the ministry, and he too was planning to leave. And the Lord sent a prophet to him, and the prophet asked him not to leave the ministry. And then the conversation went on where the prophet himself faced the same problem, and some other person came to him. And I realized, well, this seemed to be a recurring decimal. And he said to me further, when the devil cannot get you, he will afflict and affect your children. And so the thought came as I contemplated on what was said to me. And I began looking at the children of choice servants of the Lord, the children of some believers. And it's almost like they had no regard for the things of God or for church. One of the things I'm saying, if you're a Christian and your children are walking with God, come on, just thank God for it. And then I looked through the scriptures and I looked at the servants of God, the mighty servants of God, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, even Adam. And I came backward to our time. And I observed that many of these children whose parents served the Lord tremendously well and faithfully did not walk with God. Even Dr. Billy Graham and his son Franklin. And the list could go on. So then as a result, the Lord gave me the title, God Has No Grandchildren. And I defined grandchildren as a gift that God gave to people, but he kept none for himself. And so we've got some very, very important chapters there, how to deal with these children when they rebel and what have you. And it is important for us to understand that we should love them in spite of what they have done. And we should continue to pray for them. Yes, the Bible says we should train our children in the way that they should go. We do that sometimes and they still fail. But the rest of the verse states when they are old. So we have a responsibility to love them, to pray for them, and not to give up on them. And so we need to know some of Satan's strategies in trying to get to our children. We should also know how to respond in these situations, and that the importance of letting the Lord deal with them and draw them again back to himself. And so basically this is what this book is all about. And for those of you who may have read this book, I know it has been a blessing to many. The telephone calls I get, the encouragement from those who have read it, it's really ministering to me. And I know this book is going to help many, many, many parents, the many parents who are at church, serving as pastors and in different assignments within the church setting, and yet the children are just wayward. Don't give up on them. Pray for them and believe God for them. The seed that has been sown will germinate and it will grow, and your children will come back. When they're old, they will come back. God bless you, and ensure that you get your personal copy.